Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So, as you all know, the city of Chicago is a cesspool of violence and just overall craziness. You know, they have a mayor that's just so far left, it's not even funny. But what I want to talk about in this video is it is in reference to Chicago, but it's about the illegal migration situation over there. That the city of Chicago is a sanctuary city, and what has happened is the article I'm about to read. What has happened is there's this business, this corporation that wants to make a deal with the city of Chicago officials, and that deal is that they want to create these housing units, almost like they're not tents, but they're like metal housing units that would house up to, it's like 80 feet across and will house like six people. If you see the picture, the thumbnail picture, you know what I'm talking about. That's exactly how it looks. And they're trying to strike a deal with the city officials to make these housing units for these migrants that come over to Chicago. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I'm going to give you my opinion on that after we get into this article. So let's get right into this. Yeah, man, it's just interesting how these things go. It says officials in Chicago, Illinois, a sanctuary city, are being pitched on a housing plan that would see border crossers and illegal aliens put in so-called, quote, micro homes that measure 80 square feet, Axios reported Monday. Since the summer of last year, tens of thousands of border crossers and illegal aliens, many from Venezuela, have arrived in Chicago with little to no resources or plans to provide for themselves. Most remain living in city-subsidized housing or in police stations. That's crazy. Now, according to Axios, a housing company is pitching city officials on a plan that would have 6 migrants live in a single 80 square foot micro home costing $20,000 each to manufacture. Now I'm wondering who's going to pay for this. Is it this housing company that's going to pay for this? Or is it the government, or is it a combination of both? I don't know, but we'll get into the details of that later on. Axios reports this. It says Axios reported that Inherent Homes have developed a prototype to provide an alternative to tents on sidewalks and other viaducts that can be built fast in their Lawndale facility. Their new micro homes are 80 square feet and can house up to 6 people. Inherent CEO Tim Swanson tells Axios they include a lofted bed over 5 feet in headspace and a composting toilet. 5 feet in headspace. That's pretty low though. If the city wanted these houses, Swanson said it would take less than a month for production to ramp up, and they could produce several units per month. Such a contract between Inherent Homes and Chicago would come as the city does little to ask President Joe Biden's administration to stem the flow of illegal immigration that has exacerbated its limited housing problem. Now, here's the part that always comes to pass when these deals are struck, okay? In September, an Axios report admitted that mass immigration has a net negative impact on affordable housing for Americans. So regardless, it's always us Americans that suffer. Let's go on. Cities simply don't have enough affordable homes, enough shelters, or enough money to help everyone who needs it, straining scarce resources and leaving thousands of people out on the street. So that could explain some of these homeless people, you know. Not all these homeless people are drug heads and crackheads and people that don't work. Some of these homeless people, and you can look at some of them and tell that they actually lost their homes, you know. The Axios report stated in a piece titled "Migrant Surge Makes U.S. Housing Crisis Worse." The mission from Axios, as well as other establishment media outlets, is significant as Democrats, listen to this, is significant as Democrats, Wall Street, open border activists, and real estate investors have long claimed that immigration levels have no impact on housing costs. That's a flat out lie. Flat out lie. I can't stand these people, man. can't stand these people. Senator J.D. Vance is among a handful of Republican lawmakers who have highlighted immigration's impact on housing costs for Americans, calling it, quote, economic warfare that cuts would-be first-time homeowners out of the market. Think about what this does for housing prices when you have to house 10 million people that shouldn't be here, that drive up the cost of housing when interest rates are already through the roof, Vance said of mass immigration. This is economic warfare and theft of the American dream from American citizens. That is the big problem here, and that's why we have to keep fighting it, he concluded. In 2013, a study by the Michael Bloomberg-funded New American Economy, which promotes mass immigration, explained how the importing of tens of millions of immigrants over decades has helped raise housing costs by $3.7 trillion. That's with a T. $3.7 trillion for the next generation of home buyers, but spun the figures as the creation of, quote, housing wealth. In the article right there, housing wealth. Gee, that sounds very much like communism. Yeah, this is absolutely crazy. But what I wanted to say about this is now here we have a classic example of what is known as crony capitalism. And that is when business entrepreneurs or corporations make deals, as this housing unit organization did with the Chicago officials, make deals with the local government. You know, they get benefits, the local government gets benefits. The downside to that is that a lot of times it's the little people, it's the 9-to-5ers that get hurt in the whole process. The thing about crony capitalism is you could stretch that all the way back to the super capitalists, the international banking families. I'm not going to go into the detail of that. This video might get taken down. But if you know the international banking families, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Goldman Sachs, or the JP Morgans, they make billions and billions and sometimes trillions of dollars in income, you know, and so forth. I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but they are the super capitalists. And they have an invested interest in controlling every single thing and every single aspect of our lives. And they themselves finance a lot of these governments that we see, including the American government. But anyway, let's deal with this whole idea of crony capitalism and creating these housing units, if you will, for these illegals. Because remember, these are illegals that's coming over here, okay? What happens is you go by the economic concept of the supply of the law of supply and demand. You have a high demand for houses, but you don't have the supply of those houses. What's going to happen? The houses that are here, the price is going to go up in order to supplement for the limited housing. So the problem is you got all these illegals coming over here. Instead of the as the article says, instead of the Chicago city officials coming to the Biden administration and saying, would you stop the flow of these illegals coming over here? Yes, we're a sanctuary city, but we can't hold them all. Would you stop that? They're allowing them to continuously come over here, which is part of a bigger plan, but that's another story and I digress. I'm going to speak on this level. They're allowing them to continually come over into Chicago. Okay, and yet Chicago does not have the resources to house all of these illegals. So now the prices on the current houses go up. And guess who suffers? People who want to buy a house. That's you and I. That's regular residents in the city of Chicago. They're the ones that suffer from this entire concept. I'm a supporter of capitalism. I'm a supporter of free markets. I don't support crony capitalism no more than I support communism and socialism and progressivism. Because both communism, socialism, and progressivism and crony capitalism stink. All of them stink. They never hardly benefit the people of that particular area. They only benefit the politicians and the business tycoons that are making these deals. because the housing prices, as the article said, they still go up. So regardless of if there's a actual corporation is trying to build these units for these illegals to move in, the regular people, the regular residents of the city of Chicago are not benefiting from that. They're suffering from it because if they decide to want to get a house, those prices go up. The interest rates go sky high. So who's winning here? Who's winning? And this gets down to, and I say this often, I'm going to say it here again. This gets down to the voting processes and watching out for who we vote for when voting time comes on the local, state, federal level. I feel that we really have to pay attention to what a lot of these politicians are saying, whether they're Democrat or Republican. Really, the Democrats are just all flat out messed up. These guys are so far left radical, they're basically communists, okay? But then you have a lot of these so-called Republicans, these rhinos and neocons, these new conservatives that are really all about profit and they don't care less about you. They'll throw this idea of low taxes. That's all they'll throw. Well, low taxes. I want more than low taxes. I want more than that. You can't just throw me a bone and then that's it. No, I see the bigger picture. It comes down to, I feel, the voting processes. We got to watch who we vote for. We got to listen to what these politicians are saying, what rhetoric they're spitting at us, so that we can make the best decisions when it comes down to voting. And I said this in the previous video, and I'll say it here. This is one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why so many people in America and other Western countries, okay, are voting for populist candidates that are not necessarily politicians. Because so many of the politicians on both sides have been corrupted by big money that they're only concerned about big money. They're not concerned about the regular people. But the government, and an American government in particular, is supposed to be by the people, for the people. But it has not been by the people, for decades. And it's high time that Americans wake up to not only communism invading our country, but crony capitalism, okay? And there isn't a whole lot you can do with that a lot of times, but it is a part that we do play a part, I believe in, and that is listening to what these corporations, the head of these corporations say in terms of making deals with local government and so forth. Listening to what they say when you read the articles or read the newspaper, whatever. Well, this company's coming in and making a deal with the local government here and our city government. They're making deals to do this, that, that. Okay, yeah, you got to listen in on that because who really benefits? True, the government should benefit, and true, the corporation that made the deal with the government should benefit. Of course, they're going to benefit, but the people should benefit too. It shouldn't be this, the housing price is going to go up. Either way it goes, it seems like it's all about absolute control. Big government needs to go out the door. And I agree with Anthony Brown Logan on that. I was watching a video of him recently today. I am of the same mindset. I am against big government. I believe in little government. Stay out of it as much as possible. I believe and I reject also crony capitalism. I reject that, but there's a whole lot we can do about crony capitalism. What are you going to do? Vote against them? They're not politicians. But we can vote against politicians or push against politicians that want to make these deals with these corporations that don't benefit the people. You see? So it doesn't benefit the American people. It is not benefiting the Chicago residents. So I just wanted to bring that out right there. Yeah, they're building these houses, these housing units for these illegals. But I want to end the video on this. I'm wondering if any of these illegals are going to want to even get into these places. I wonder if they're going to be, I wonder if they're going to actually be like, okay, thank you. This is cool. Because they came over here thinking they was going to get the best of everything, which makes no sense because you're supposed to be oppressed, right? You're supposed to be oppressed. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be coming from countries that oppress you. You don't have anything, woo, 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 woo. And you come over here and expect to get, the Mahaj Atwa. I mean, what do you expect? You got to start somewhere. You're not going to start up on the top. You're not going to start up on the top and then, you know what I mean? No, that's not how it works. You got to work it like every American and like other immigrants that come over here legally. You got to work it like they work it. Work it like they work it. You don't come over here and immigrate over here and then the government puts you on the top. It don't work like that. Work it like the legal immigrants worked it. You work it, baby. Okay? You work it. You put in the grind. You put in the time. And then you get the benefits over the course of time. But the handouts, no. That's just to get the voting base. In part. That's just to get a voting base. Yeah, but that's what I wanted to say right there. Crony capitalism sucks. I just wanted to say that. But what do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.